So, really warm welcome to this masterclass on snake medicine for our times. That's what I called it, and it's also going to be a little Q&A about the Serpent Sanctuary, my beautiful 3 months program for women space holders who are navigating change in their lives, working with the wisdom and power of snake medicine. So we have an hour, and I'm going to talk a bit about snake medicine. I will show you some slides and also guide you through a beautiful meditation, a visual meditation on snake medicine, how it's been present through the millennia. And if you have a little writing pad, there will be a little time to write as well. And then I'll introduce the Serpent Sanctuary. So this is the lay of the land for tonight. So for those who are here and on the replay, I'm going to introduce myself. So I'm Eva Weaver. I live near Saltine at Phoenix Nest, my home. Use she, her pronouns. And yeah, I've been wearing many different hats in my life. So originally coming from art psychotherapy, working mental health. I've been working as a performance artist for 10 years, creating site specific and other performances. And also went into embodiment, trained as a breath worker, and then eventually moved into conscious sexuality work. So I trained as a sexological body worker. And shamanism has been with me for nearly 30 years as my spiritual practice. And I share this with you because I feel this is very relevant when it comes to snake medicine, because for me, snake is connected really with all of these areas. So many of you know how snake can connect us with sensuality and sexuality. Maybe you've come across the idea of Kundalini energy. And also snakes connected with creation, creativity. And so my journey with the snakes, maybe if you believe in past lives, goes back a very, very long time. But in this life, snakes come to me in dreams from when I was little, and I was so fascinated by snakes. I remember going to the zoo, and when I first saw a large boa and their patterning, and I could hardly believe this existed, and it touched me then already. And I remember when I handled for the first time a snake. It was a small snake, black, called Alchemy, and she curled around my upper arm. And in that moment, I just had tears rising and a very, very visceral experience. And it felt like a deep remembering. It felt like something was transmitted in that moment. There wasn't any fear, but really something very strong. And about 8 years ago, I dived into the theme of snakes and also literally the snakes more deeply. And I've been living for 7 years with my two beautiful royal pythons called Sid and Mist. Mist is sadly passed, but still guides me and teaches me from the beyond. And then I want to share another piece that's been really important on my journey. So this is an image of it's a little statuette found in Crete in the Minoan palace of Knossos. And when I first saw this, I was a young woman and I'd never seen any representation of woman in that way. You know, it was something so powerful about her stance, the bare breasts, the wild eyes. And the label said it's a statue of a snake goddess. And really, it took me many, many years and many experiences and meeting people until I found out that what I believe now, really, that she isn't a snake goddess, but really a priestess, and that there is an unbroken lineage of people, particularly women, who have been working with snake, with the serpent, and have been in service to bring this energy into the world. And so for the past few years, really, I've been really connecting with that lineage, particularly the Cretan or Greece lineage. And there's a little what I feel over the years that snake medicine has helped me. I've had a lifelong challenge really with being really embodied, being fully present here on the planet, embracing my physicality. And so, snake really has taught me a lot about embodiment and being here. Also feeling more connected with my sensual side and supported my sexual expression. And I feel snake opened me more to my intuition and this deep inner listening. So I'm aware I'm already talking about snake medicine. So what is all this about? Sometimes when I mention snake medicine, people say, oh, is it like Kambo? Or is it like ayahuasca? Is it a substance you take? Is it the poison of the snake? And it's not that at all, even though snake poison has a lot of beneficial properties. It's been used in homeopathy, for instance. But what I understand snake medicine to be is, first of all, everything we can learn from the actual snakes. So from observing them, from being with them. And the first I already mentioned, it's that embodiment when we're with snake and we're seeing them, they're so embodied. And of course, they're having the belly to the ground. If we think about how we as humans, we only have our feet that connect us with the ground, right? But snake has the whole body that connects her with the ground. And I feel that's really something. There's an invitation to, for us as well, to get on the ground and remember where we are coming from and where we're going to as well. And at the same time, a snake is also very mysterious. And when, living with snakes for a long time, they can become very still. And my friend Kwali calls them the master meditators, because they're also, I feel, very, very connected to the universe, to the cosmos. So they're really a beautiful bridge. And so there's what we can learn from snakes. So embodiment, of course, we all know about shedding. We see them also going in hibernation. They can pounce at the right time. So it's all the observational. And then, of course, what we can learn from the symbolism of the great serpent, as it was present and revered in pretty much all cultures around the globe for millennia before snake got demonized. So there were so many traditions of priestesses, maybe priests also working with the snakes. And we find temples all over the globe. So from Egypt, many African countries, China, India, the Americas, and even Europe. So I'm going to show you a few slides to just illustrate this a bit more. So yeah, I feel snake medicine is a really potent path that can support us in our healing, in embodiment, creativity, sexuality, and learning more deeply about cyclical living. What we know a lot when we hear about snake is shedding. This is an image, by the way, of my beautiful late serpent snake called Mist. And she's curiously inquiring there. There's a little statuette from Crete as well. So for millennia, snake has been a symbol of transformation, regeneration, of death and rebirth. So snakes shed for two reasons. One is they grow, and one to not let parasites infest their skin. So for hygiene. And snakes shed regularly, depending on how old they are. They can shed 2-3 times a year, even more when they're young. And as snakes shed, so do we. Snakes connected with really very much the theme of cyclical living. Again, that connects with the shedding, but also their patterns of eating and non-eating, hibernating. And I feel there's a lot that we can connect with and learn, to not feel we have to function in that same way week by week, month by month, but knowing we too are cyclical beings embedded in cycles of life. This is a closer image of the statue I showed you earlier. And yeah, I feel snake is a really powerful, of course, symbol and creature. And in being with snake, in observing snake, but also learning about it, we can connect with serpent energy. For me, they really embody power and sovereignty. There's an image of a cobra. Cobras have been very often found in the temples of Egypt, also in India. There's still temples now alive and existing that revere the cobra in India. What we can learn from them around power is also this embodiment of power, and for instance of setting boundaries. When snakes want to make sure that nobody oversteps their territory, they make that very clear in different ways. So here's cobra. Cobra will rise up often to eye level, will puff themselves out. Some will even growl. Rattlesnake, of course, rattles to make herself heard. And so as we engage with snake, we can learn more deeply about how we embody boundaries, how we embody power. These are from Nigeria. And then, as I mentioned, and again, that's very often what people connect with snake first, is about sensuality and sexuality. The snake really can support us to move into a very embodied sexuality, to connect with our sensuality, our agility. And then, of course, there is also the energetic aspect of snake, which many know as the Kundalini energy. So, life force energy that is often lying dormant at the bottom of our spine, and that can be woken through movement, breath, visualization. Very important, I feel, that that's done in a very grounded way. And for me, I hold this always in mind, but this is not something also in my program we start with, because for me the first teaching is of snake is very much about deep embodiment. But yeah, you know, so much to say about sensuality, sexuality, and snake. Um, and as snake has been demonized, so sexuality, and particular women's sexuality, has been demonized at some point in history. And so I feel we are on a big, big reclamation journey here collectively to, yeah, bring back our sensuality, sexuality, and also restore snake to, yeah, the rightful place. And then the other big theme snake has always been connected with is that of healing. So in ancient Greek times, beautiful temples existed that were called the Asclepions. So these were temples dedicated to this demigod Asclepius here. It's often depicted with a staff with a snake curled around, and Hygeia, his daughter, was feeding the snake here. It's connected what we know now as the theme of hygiene. And so people would come to these temples when they had ailments, I believe physical, but maybe mental and emotional as well. And the healing that happened there came through different things. One was catharsis, so the cleansing through water in different ways. But then the core of the healing was that people were going into so-called incubation chambers, and they were dreaming in the dark with non-venomous snakes present. And the healing came, they believed, through the dreams that then were interpreted, but I believe also really strongly through the transmissions of the snake and what happened in that, yeah, interplay between the people who came there and dreamt. And yeah, we'll go much deeper into that in the Serpent Sanctuary. And so creativity, I mentioned before, snake has always been present very powerfully in creation myth all over the globe, particularly in Aboriginal history about the rainbow serpent. And it's always been connected with life force and creative energy, and also the cycles of creation. We find the serpentine when we start to look for snake, we find the serpentine everywhere in nature and inside our bodies. I mean, one of the most obvious is our spine, of course, that really snakes that helps us to be upright as well as agile and flexible. But also our intestines. And if we go deeper, deeper still into ourselves, we'll see that our DNA is actually a double helix. So it's like the caduceus, like the two entwined snakes. And for me, that all connects with the mystery. Snake really connects us with ultimately with the mystery of life, the mystery of existence. The alchemists of old and new, for them, always snake has been an important symbol. And equally in shamanic cultures found all over the world, snake is such a powerful and important spirit ally. And I've been working a lot in my own shamanic practice with serpent energy. And this is always part of the work in the Serpent Sanctuary, also, that we'll work with that shamanic spirit ally energy. One symbol that's very well known is the Ouroboros, the snake that eats its own tail. For me, that means many things, but one of it is about completion and evolution. So that point where something completes and then creates that spark for new creation. And when I felt deeper into snake as a queer woman, as a queer person, for me, snake has also become a queer ally, because I feel what they do is they transcend dualities, polarities, and gender. Um, when we handle a snake, we cannot know the the sex of a snake. My story with Sid and Mist is the most beautiful tale of it. I was given the two by Snakey Sue, has a Serpent Sanctuary, and she's been working 30 years with snakes. And she said, yeah, these two male snakes, they've been together with two others in a big vivarium. I'm sure they get on, and they did get on. And after 6 months, I found Mist sitting on a clutch of eggs. So nobody knew she was female. And so, in these pictures, we can see, of course, we might know Freud always connected snake with the phallus. And we can see how that can happen, like in that first image. But equally, when snake opens her mouth, so clearly like a vulva. And so for me, there's something about that beautiful fluidity, agility snake brings, plus um, these aspects that for me makes, the serpent, like I said, a queer ally. And so I'm gonna play you a little slideshow to really bring a flavor of just how powerfully snake has been present throughout history. And so I invite you, those here and those watching the replay, to make yourself really comfy, lean back, and just receive this. Yeah. And then afterwards, I'm going to give you a few minutes with your with your journals to maybe just free write what got invoked. Maybe something touched you or got, yeah. So enjoy.
Sachidananda Parabrahma Purushottama Paramatma Shri Bhagavati Shri Bhagavate Namaha. Om Sachidananda Parabrahma Purushottama Paramatma Shri Bhagavati Samhita Shri Bhagavate Namaha. Om Sachidananda Parabrahma Purushottama Paramatma Shri Bhagavati Samhita Shri Bhagavate Namaha. Om Sachidananda Parabrahma Purushottama Paramatma Shri Bhagavati Samhita Shri Bhagavate Namaha. Sachidananda Parabrahma Purushottama Paramatma Shri Bhagavati Samhita Shri Bhagavati Namaha Om Sachidananda Parabrahma Purushottama Paramatma Shri Bhagavati Samhita Shri Bhagavate Namaha Om Sachidananda Parabrahma Purushottama Paramatma Shri Bhagavati Samhita Shri Bhagavate Namaha Om Sachidananda Parabrahma Purushottama Paramatma Shri Bhagavati Samhita Shri Bhagavate Namaha Om Sachidananda Parabrahma Purushottama Paramatma Shri Bhagavati Samhita Shri Bhagavate Namaha Shri Bhagavati Samhita Shri Bhagavate Namaha.
So yeah, I wanted to give you a few moments to be with pen and paper if you like, or just feel into what that leaves you with. Just take a moment to finish that off. And so I would love to share with you, before we open for Q&A, about the Serpent Sanctuary, my 3-month program, which will start tomorrow, Thursday 30th. So I called it the Serpent Sanctuary, holding those who hold others. And it's a program particularly for women space holders. Women includes also non-binary and genderqueer folks. It's open for genderqueer folks. And so the program is for folks who are space holders and who are going through a period of change in their own lives, who are navigating change. And we'll be working with the wisdom and the power of snake medicine. What we'll explore in there is really Serpent's invitation to cultivate sacred rest, create powerful boundaries, cultivate deep embodiment and grounding, and activate and embrace pleasure, our sensual pleasure and sexuality, to shed rigidity, become more flexible and adaptable, and yes, practice self-compassion and presence with what is. I've ran the Serpent Sanctuary before, and it's been a beautifully holding container. And as I guide you through the different sessions, one thing I want to say is that in this round, I'm going to weave a much stronger thread around pleasure, because I feel that this is such an important part of when we are moving through changes, whether they are changes we are welcome or that are really challenging. If we can keep connected to our sensuality, our embodied selves, and pleasure, it will nourish us so much more. So, first session is around initiation. We'll talk about and explore deep embodiment, rooting, and the theme of sacred rest. And in the second session, this is all about resource. How can we be fully resourced, return to our source? What nourishes us? Where do we need to set boundaries? And how can pleasure be source for us? And then we are moving into what I call the incubation chamber. So this phase of dreaming in the dark and also being in this liminal space, because when we are moving through change, we're really in this in between for a while, just like snake is in the in between. Before they shed, they go into the dark, they hide, they stop eating, and yeah, they incubate. And so we as well will be going into that phase in that session through deep meditation. And then in the fourth session, This is our rite of passage. I called it through the eye of the needle because this is where our shedding happens. And shedding is really very mysterious and miraculous when we go in depth and explore how this happens with snake. You know, how when they're just before shedding, their eyes cloud over and they look as if they are in trance because there's liquid between the inner skin and the new skin building. And when they get ready, they're usually immersed in water to soften their skin. And then when the time comes, they rub their heads against a rough surface and create a rupture, really, an opening through which they can slither out. And when we look at this in depth, there's so many parts to it, so much symbolism that we can relate to our own passage, our own shedding, whatever it is that we need to let go in our own lives. And then as we're moving out of that, we're with the change as well. But how can we anchor these changes that are necessary for us to make? How can we be discerning and coming back to these embodied boundaries, learning from snake how to really embody our boundaries, both our yes, but also particularly our no. And then we're moving into metamorphosis and a renewal. How can we embody our new sparkling skin? So when snake comes out the other side of the shedding process, everything changes. Their temperament changes. They start to move again. They're happy to be handled, usually. They're hungry again. They eat or hunt. And their skin is iridescent and sparkling. And so that is the bigger structure of the course, this journey that I call really a rite of passage journey. So at the center of it there will be a ritual, but all of our journey is a pathway, where I as your guide and the group itself will support your journey into your own, through your own change, whatever you're going through. So included are 6 2-hour live sessions. They're Thursdays, lunchtime UK time, so 12 to 2. And then 3 1-hour integration sessions. All sessions are recorded, of course, if you miss one. Then you will receive one session with me. It's a snake medicine guidance session where I haven't shared this much here, but for 2 years, every day I sit down and I say, and thus speak the snakes, and I write, I free write, I channel, however we want to call it, tap into the energy of snake, whether that's an archetype or whether that is my snakes. And I've been weaving these beautiful guidance sessions, which you will receive one. It's actually not a WhatsApp group. It's we're gonna move to Telegram, so there will be a beautiful Telegram group to support you throughout. And it's a very embodied program. So each session, yes, there will be teaching, and you'll have a portal with lots of material. But in the actual sessions, there will be embodied practices, including breathwork, movement, deep snake medicine meditations. And there will be ceremony and rituals, sharing circles, nervous system tools. And we will be working with snake as a shamanic ally as well. and you'll have access to all the recordings and many resources, which you can actually keep and download. Um, Now, I have a very special bonus for this round. This is brand new. I'm bringing Claire the Carpentier on board. She's a business coach, a shamanic practitioner, and a human design expert. And so Claire will bring the medicine of human design to the sanctuary, with a group session, but also you'll receive a report with your unique design and an individual session. So you can really look at work and business as well, because of course the program is for space holders, facilitators, entrepreneurs, and it's a beautiful way to weave this in here so you can see and look at your work, your business, in terms of sustainability, in terms of how do you approach it. I have found this super helpful in terms of my own design and how to tweak some things as well. That's Claire. And so you might say, well, what is it? What will I get out of it? Um, First of all, I feel you will feel supported and nourished in a delicious community of fellow facilitators as you navigate your change. There will be guidance and wisdoms from the snakes through the snake medicine practices. And more importantly, I feel the sanctuary will give you space to connect with your own inner medicine, with your wisdom and your resources, while also being inspired by others. You will have space to really address and feel into what is it that is old, what is it that doesn't serve anymore, and what needs letting go in this process of change. Serpent snake is really the ally of times of change, but also we'll be exploring how to anchor new patterns, being more discerning, how to anchor pleasure in our lives, in our daily lives, how to make a stand for sacred rest in our life, healthy boundaries. So it's very much about resourcing, incubating new ideas, shedding, and really stepping into this new self that you are becoming as you're moving through a time of change. And of course, to be witnessed with your sparkling new skin and being witnessed throughout, whether that's the struggles you're going through. It's a very compassionate and kind space. Even though snake medicine, I always say it's not for the faint hearted. I know this so well because whenever I share snake medicine, whenever I put out an offer like this one, snakes really take me through a deep, deep process as well of initiation. And some say this is shadow work, and I think it is. Snake does bring up that which doesn't serve us anymore, but equally, um, there's great sweetness there as well when we engage with snake. So the regular price for the sanctuary for all the sessions, the 3 months container, is 1,111. And I wanted to make you a very special offer tonight. We have still space in the sanctuary. I would love for folks to benefit from it who do feel called to this container. So I'm offering this for 777. And I've got payment plans, of course. Yeah. I can stay on as well to have a little chat. And yeah, would would love to welcome you to the Serpent Sanctuary. Start tomorrow, Thursday 30th at 12 till 2 with our first session. I'm going to stop the sharing now. And also the recording, as I said,